What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and I've literally just got back from an OTS event where I decided to take DDDs. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to give you a full tournament report. I'm going to blitz through the list because it is pretty standard, bar the cards are a little bit different and the cards I'd want to change and update, and basically give you a full tournament report so you have all the information available to you as to exactly how this one went. So I went to a brand new store in Peterborough, so it's called Community, so TEA Gaming, and it was actually a really nice store. So I think it's like a new build store. It's only been around for a couple of months after I was talking to the judge about it. The winner of the event was on Loonlights. Second place was Malice. Then there was a couple of yummies running around. There was like a yummy Snake Eyes. There was Dirac Fire King, a couple of Vanquish Soul, Canines, and I think there was a Blue Eyes, and I'm not too sure about the others. I kind of missed those. So my matchups, round 1 was Dirac Fire King, so of course it would be. Round 2 was Mitsurugi, and then round 3 and 4 were Vanquish Soul, Canine, and I'm like, stop. Anyway, really good duels, really good opponents. Round number 1 was up against the Fire King Dirac, and it really kind of caught me off guard. Like game 1, I know what the cards do. I know that they want to try and lead and set up the ability of the Meteor. So in game number 1, I think I got... No, it wasn't game number 1. Game number 1, I think I just lost it generally. Game number 2, I got double forward. And then I just went, I was trying to play, not around it, but I was trying not to give as many draws. And then right at the end, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go in. Some part of my brain went, let's see if we can deck out. And it never happened. Basically, they ended the turn with 27 cards in the hand. They had to put back, they could only end the turn with 14, which is crazy. So, shuffled cards back. And ultimately, it kind of came down to a bit of a misplay. They did a bit of a misplay, and they had to scoop it from that point on because they still couldn't break the field that I'd presented to them because some of the cards they got left with were a couple of bricks. They weren't really helpful, and they weren't really leading to breaking the field. We went into game number 3, and then in game number 3, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. Oh, that was it. So game number 3, they went Barrier Statue, the fire one. They ended the turn with the Fire Statue, and then the ability to make the Meteor. I decided to hold back my impulse. So when I realised that they put the Fire Statue down, I did a Dark Contract, searched my deck. I was like, there's only one DD monster in the entire deck that can be normal summoned that can beat over the Fire Statue, and that was Griffin. So I had to search out Griffin, normal summon down the Griffin, and they drolled me after that. I was like, which is absolutely fine. Like, the rest of my hand was actually pretty good. But I had to go to the battle phase. I had to kill the statue. They tried to use the Dirac to make the Meteor, and that's why I held the Impulse. I was like, cool, Impulse, stop that. And then I had nothing left, and I was able to kind of build from there. So it was a really good duel, really nice opponent as well. So massive shout out to them. Round number 2 was up against Mitsurugi. So Mitsurugi, they won the dice roll. They went first. They activated part of Extravagance. I activated Droll in response, like on resolution. They passed back to me, and then they ended up going Impulse, Ash, and I think there was another hand trap in there, maybe a draw or something. But I couldn't really build anything and lost to that one. Game number 2, I lost to myself. Like, I just bricked horribly. Like, I opened up, it was like Ash, Droll, Impulse, and I think maybe Super Poly or something like that, and it just didn't do anything. So I lost that one. Then into round number 3, again, really nice opponent. They were on Canine Vanquish Soul, and I was kind of like, not shocked to see that Canine Vanquish Soul were there, but was kind of like, okay, cool. So they rolled 11, I rolled a 12. I went on uninterrupted. They couldn't really break it, went into game 2. Game 2, they went first. I couldn't really interact with it. They ended on Nationalite with an Absorb. They had a Caesar Valius with a pop. They had Dust Devil or Snow Devil, and then everything else. I was like, all right, cool. Can't do anything with that one. We'll pass that one. And in game number 3, again, I went off unanswered. I made a misplay. I didn't make Siegfried, and then they went Duster and completely blew out my back line. And I was like, oh, I knew I was going to get punished for not making Siegfried, but lesson learned on that one. So I was able to still win that one. It was a very good grind back and forth, won that one. Went into round 4, which is the fun round of the day. I was on table 2. I don't think it would have made much of a difference if I had won, because I think first and second, so like the top table, which was Malice versus Loonlights, the winner got first place, the second place got second place. Anyway, into the last round. So I won the dice roll, got to go first. They opened up Fua. I, again, stupidly decided to take the Fua challenge, but what I made the biggest misplay on is one of my card effects was discard a card. I think I was playing the Master Majesty, or the Darkness, what's it called again? The Dark Spirit Mastery. And I had Super Poly, and I had Draw in my hand. My brain didn't even consider holding the droll, so I discarded the droll, and then they went Fua. And I was like, no, if I discarded the Super Poly, I could have protected myself from the Fua, and I took the Fua challenge and basically just gave them way too much resource. Never even used the Super Poly because I had to play through so much interaction. I had to use Impulse to stop a summon coming down. I just couldn't do anything. Game number 2, I went first. Made a suboptimal board, like the best I could do because they brought out loads of interactions. They couldn't really break it, but they did enough to kind of set me back a little bit because I got access to the Dark contract with the Eternal Darkness. So I played that, made it a little bit awkward for them, meant that the K9 engine was technically shut off. Then it came back to me, bit more of a grind, ended my field, wasn't enough for OTK, left them on like 600 life points, and then they went Dark Rule no more, turned off Machinex, Ragnarok, and another card, and then just kept grinding back and forth. There's like 2 minutes left on the clock. They used Holy Shoe to steal my cards, and I was just like, I can't do anything, and ended up losing that one. So overall, it was a good experience. There was a couple of things that I felt I could have done better. Like I could have predicted draw a little bit more, played around draw a little bit more, and kind of gone through it that way. But ultimately, it didn't really... I would say it didn't make much of a huge difference. It was a good learning experience to kind of go from there. So I'll lay out the list so you can kind of see exactly what we've got here. So for your starters, 3 Queen, Machinex, backed up by 2 Dark Spirits. Now the idea behind the Dark Spirits is that it can lead you into Queen, it can lead you into one of your side deck cards, but it can also lead you into like a Scale or an Extender in Count Surveyor or your Ragnarok. So if you need an Extender, it can get to it. If you need the Ragnarok, it can get to this. I think I resolved it once. It doesn't respect draw whatsoever. Neither does Throne, to be honest. There was a couple of times where I wanted more starters, and there was a couple of times where I just didn't need more starters. So I'm not sure how I feel about this card. I feel that I could get rid of it because the issue is I think that Throne's a little bit better for the pure fact that Throne doesn't need you to use a discard. Whereas the reason I put this in here is that there's a couple of cards I want to discard. Like when I played this the last time, I kept opening up these 2, and I was like, I really don't want these in my hand. I want to discard them. I want to get rid of them. So I was like, ooh, Forbidden Droplet, Dark Master, or Super Poly, and I ended up going with Dark Spirit and Super Poly. And yeah, I think I would probably take both of these out. The list is 42 cards. I would probably take both of these out, put Throne in at 41, and then take out Ghost Spell that I put in the main as a last minute kind of panic decision. The other starters, obviously 3 Kepler and 3 Gates. So you would naturally think that having 11 starters would be enough. I was so wrong. Like 2 duels, I opened up no route to starter, and I was like, this is just silly now. But I don't know really. I'm going to do more testing and just kind of decide what I kind of want as a starter. I like the flexibility of Spirit, but then I think Throne would probably be much better. I don't want to play 3 Throne because I think it gets a little bit too cloggy. 1 Throne should probably be enough, but that's only going to lead you to a Kepler or a Copernicus, which is fine, to be honest. But yeah, that's the starters. For the extenders, maxed out on Griffin. I still think it's the best one. I made a last-minute decision to cut the Scale Surveyor down from 3 to 2 and put a Ghost Bow in the main deck because I didn't have enough space in the side deck, and I don't think Ghost Bell... It's one of these weird ones because like the next environment I go to, like Ghost Bell would be amazing and I won't have access to it. But in this one, I just honestly didn't need it. I took out the one Count Surveyor because I went for the Dark Mastery, and I was like, the Dark Mastery will lead me to the Count Surveyor. It lets me discard any card. I don't need to worry about discarding specifically a DD, so I opted to go down that route instead. So that's your extenders. Moving on to the bricks. Which, to be fair, I don't really count Copernicus as a brick. I think it's still a good starter. It just doesn't do a lot on its own because it will send 1 from deck to grave, which will be your Lance Soldier. But then if you don't have, or even your Necro Slime, but then if you can't fuse or do anything with it, it just doesn't do anything. So you still need this plus an extender. But I still like it. I wouldn't play it more than 1. I still think 1 is more than enough, and kind of go from there. Ragnarok and then Orphoros. Ragnarok actually put in a lot of work today. I really like this card. 1 is more than enough. You don't need more than that. Orphoros, it's kind of a take it or leave it. Like, again, it does put in quite a bit of work. And a lot of people are confused when you use its spell destruction effect. Because you target 1 spell trap card on the field so it can target itself. And then another DD or Dark Contract. So as long as the other target is another DD, it's absolutely fine. So usually what you can do is you can target your Marksman King Tail to destroy the King Tail. And your Orphoros is the spell and trap that it destroys, which is sometimes good because it triggers the Queen. So they're like your bricks. Not to mention these being your bricks as well. Like, which I'm not completely sold on it. Again, I can see myself taking it out and open up for more non-engine or something. It's just another one of them ones that's really nice to end your board on a bit of a win more option. But I think the most reason, or the biggest reason that people will play this is to play around Dark Rule No More. And unless you know the environment is going to be main deck in Dark Rule No More, you're probably better off having a trap card in the side deck. And that's where you would look at your other Dark contract, being this one here. So yeah, kind of a give it or take it. For the breakers, I decided to go with just the free Super Poly. So it's either Super Poly or it's Forbidden Droplet or any other type of breaker that you can kind of consider. The idea behind this one is there's 2 flex spots in the extra deck. They're still flex spots in my opinion. I haven't nailed them down. I felt Super Poly was like an incredibly good side deck option or like a main deck option to break fields. And I was like, cool, yummy, I can deal with that. That's a really good one to deal with because you don't want to be staring down a Herald of the Arc Light. I was like, Dracotels, I can kind of cause a few issues with that one. Mitsurugi, I can cause issues with that one. But then facing Jirax, I was like, they're all fires, but they're all different types, so I can only go Mud Dragon. And then Vanquish Soul, again, it only lets me get into Mud Dragon, not Garura, and that was really, really bad. Like, just didn't really help me at all. So, again, I can see myself cutting this. One that I do want to try is I did see a profile online, and apologies, I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but they were playing the K9 package. And it was actually more than Azuna and Lupus. It actually kind of took up a lot of space in the extra deck. And I think that's the one thing with the DDDs that they don't really have space for is like a lot of extra deck flex. They've only got 2 spots. So you're like, shouldn't I? I'm still tempting between Super Poly with 2 targets or I'm tempted by the Bright King Armageddon and the Darkest Armageddon. Because the amount of times my stuff keeps getting destroyed by card effects, it's just absolutely painful. But the only issue is your destruction protection effects. It only protects your pendulums. So... And I think it's only your pendulum monsters. Let me just double check this. Just got my laptop to one side. So Darkest, DDD, Darkest, XYZ. If it includes my pendulum scales, I might actually have to consider it because the amount of times I've seen people just dust to me and it blows me out of the water. Cannot be pendulum signed. Large cards XE summoned. Attach face up DD pendulum monster from the extra to it as material. Pendulum monsters control. Cannot be destroyed by card effect. Once turn detach material from this card, target monster your opponent controls, equipped to the number of pendulum monsters you control, destroy them. Yeah, I mean, I could probably see myself playing it, but then you also then go back to it and go, well, why don't you just play, what's the other rank 8? It's right next to me. Yugioh. But then I think Yugioh is just great for going second. It's not that great for like going first unless you can summon it during your opponent's turn. So anyway, flex option, I don't know if I'm going to go to Forbidden Droplet or anything. You'll see my side deck. My side deck's a bit of a mess because right at the end I was like, but what? Because it was an environment I hadn't gone to. I was like, well, what if they're playing this? What if they're playing that? And I'll explain all my side deck choices when I get there. For the hand traps, pretty standard on this one. So free Fua, free Ash, free Joel on the main. Like Joel put probably the most work of all the hand traps. Like, I don't think I saw Fua at all today, which is really well. Apart from people using it against me every damn time. Ash is in here to hit Fua. Never saw it to hit the Fua, so what's the point? Droll is probably more effective to deal with Fua, and it was the one time when I was stupid enough to discard it. So the other one's free Impulse. Like Impulse is so good, so good. I feel that my mistake is right at the end I took out 3 Imperms for Ghost Bell, Cross Out, and I already had Call by In, but I like kind of just decided to put take out the Imperms. Now, the reason for that was, I was like, Cool Bite, great, that's another way to deal with Fua. I can also play Cross Out to deal with Fua. And I was like, oh, Bell's quite popular right now. A lot of people will use Bell to deal with stuff like Lance Soldier, to deal with Necro Slime, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, cool, I can put Bell in because I did have this at 3 in my side deck and I had to change my side deck around. I was like, I've got a space. I don't mind bumping the deck to 42. So I put it in the main deck. If I'm being completely honest, I would take this out straight away. I'm happy with 41 cards here. I would take out Witch to make it 40 and be quite happy with it. But Witch is just one of them nice options where it's like, cool, go first. That's it. I'm in a good position. So that's your hand trap lineup. Imperm, I didn't really miss Imperm, but I can see where it would put in a bit of work. For the extra deck, I'm not going to spend long on this one. So you got your Ragnarok, your Gilgameshes, High Wave, Little Wave, 2 Macanex, King Tell, Solomon, Clovis, Siegfried, Genghis, Arc Crisis, and then your 2 Super Poly targets. I feel like the deck needs to have something generic in here. I feel like even an SP Little Knight would be a good option here, and then you would choose one of the Armageddon Knights just on those odd scenarios. But even then, you lock yourself into DD so early this is how like Yu-Gi-Oh decks should be, where they're like, you can only play the deck you are trying to play. None of this splashing additional engine on top of additional engine. But I don't, there were just times where I felt like I wanted a generic Link monster. I felt like I wanted a Typhoon in the side. I just wanted like something a bit more generic, because this DDD deck, or the DDDs in general, is one of them ones where you kind of like spray your entire hand on the field. The only follow-up you really have is your Arc Crisis. And shout outs to my round 4 opponent, because every time I was playing, right, both duels, they opened up Holly Sue into Raisin. And every time they got rid of my Lance Soldier. They would not let Lance Soldier stick on the field. And because they kept getting rid of Lance Soldier, I just didn't get access to any of my synchros whatsoever, which you kind of need to get Arc Crisis. So straight away, if they stop you getting access to this, you can't get to this. And the one big thing that I might consider changing is I decided to take out Triple Tactics Thrust and the heavy polymerization. And I do like the idea of just going, you know what, you've stopped me getting to everything I need to, but I'm just going to go heavy polymerization, summon down Arc Crisis, and just go absolutely ham. So for the side deck, Yummies. What else did I play for Yummies? Yummies! And I never faced Yummies. Like, Phantasme might have well have not been there for the pure fact that I didn't face any Yummy matchup. So I was like, that's completely dead use of my card. So shout out to Rob. This is probably a curse of the commentator, I guess, because I was asking Rob for a bit of help. And I was like, what should I side in? What should I side out? And he said, take out Phantasmes and take out Ghost Spell. I was like, surely not. They're so good, this format. And I decided to keep them in. And none of them came up. Neither of them came up. Book of Eclipse didn't even come up. Like, I sided it in, but because I didn't face Yummy, none of this come up. So straight away, that's 6 cards. And in this place, I was contemplating 3 Thrusts and like Lightning Storms. So this could have been Lightning Storms and Thrust. And they probably would have put in a bit more work for me. So these 6 cards were no use to me whatsoever. Never saw Nibiru, so that's of no use to me. Lava Golem is a level 8 fiend you can search off the Mastery, sorry. Never saw it, never needed it. So like my side deck right now is just absolutely killing me. Like all of these cards, didn't see. Duster, didn't see. Droplet, I saw once and was actually putting a bit of work. So honestly, I would like the idea of free Droplet. D-Barrier, didn't face anything that I could use this against. Like Vanquisol, not going to do anything. Jirak, not going to do anything. Mitsu, would have done something, but never saw it. And then the final card that I probably saw the most out of all of this, because this is easily a searchable card, is the Dark Contract with the Eternal Darkness. Now, again, apologies to my round 4 opponent, because this card, like, our brains were mush by the round 4. So while you have 2 DD cards in your Pendulum Zones, your opponent cannot target any monster on the field with spell or trap effects. They can't be tribute them for a tribute summon, nor use them as materials for a fusion, synchro, or XZs. So K9s, shots off the K9 play. It's also very good in a sense to deal with something that will tribute via a tribute summon, but Kaijus don't do that, so I got Kaiju double times in the 4th round, which is really, really annoying. It works as a nice little floodgate to shut off K9s. It can also work against Yummy, so again, it's a Yummy card. But other than that, it just didn't do any work for me. It's nice that you can't use them for a fusion, synchro, or XEs, but the difference is, like, Dracotales can just use their hand, and then they can bounce cards. It's like, it's not as much of a floodgate as I like, but it's still the one, that, like, it's a 1 card. You might as well play it. So, on reflection, what would I change? Well, honestly, if I'm expecting Yummies, I'm going to be playing these cards. I would take out Ghost Bell from the main, Ghost Bell from the side. I like the Lava Golem, and like at the end of the day, this probably would have put in a lot of work if I ended up facing the Lunalight player, but I just didn't. So I'd probably consider taking this out, which if I take out the Mastery in the main deck, that goes. Might consider putting Droplets back in, but not Droplets, sorry. Imperms back in. But if anything, I'd probably promote Nibiru to the main deck, and then I would relegate, or that would then allow me to put in like Frosts and some other kind of Frost and Lightning Storms, maybe. So that's it for the entire profile and tournament breakdown. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.